Hello everybody, welcome back, Alpha Women Talk Show. So tonight we're going to talk about, yes, Fatu, tell us.
Today we're going to talk about what problems that married couples faces, especially to this generation.
Yes.
Exactly, and we're gonna be discussing more in depth, and we'll be sharing some of our experiences because since we ourselves married women. Am I right, Barke?
That's right.
Well, those two are married. I'm not married anymore, but I used to be married, and so I know about marriage. And so this is something that a lot of women are going through, and also men. So we're not saying we're just being biased only for women. Nah. We're talking about in marriage.
That's right.
And it can be both men
And
women.
That's right. Because the thing is, like, I think we come into this conclusion that not just because of our experience is what we saw other couples go through.
Yes.
Like as a coaches, women's men, they come to us and they go through so many misunderstanding in their marriage life.
Yes.
And today we thought about talking about that today, make a discussion about it, and see how we can you can relate to what we're saying today.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Even though we will be discussing more in depth about one thing, guys, as Fatu said, we are coaches. We've seen experience from other people and our own experience. So now I'm gonna ask you a question, Fatu. Okay, I know that marriage life is both good and bad. Okay, and we all know the difficulties it has. So what do you think marriage life, what they go through, the relationship, within the marriage? What do you think people go through?
Well, I know that married life is very very narrow, right? Is very critical. Sometimes there is ups and downs.
Definitely.
There's good things in the marriage, there's bad things in the marriage. There's no marriage is as sweet as sweet.
Exactly.
Right? Or as sweet as honey. But there is honey, there's salt in it, right? Today you will take the salt, tomorrow you taste the honey. That's what I would call it.
I love it.
So you just have to know how to walk through that.
Yes.
Right? And I think that many couples going through these things, and today we hear many women's, especially women's, complaining. But that is us to say that women's complains. But then you can hear men's themselves sitting in a gathering with their fellow men, and they also talk about what they go through. Now I think that it's only fair we look at both sides.
Yes.
Definitely. Yes.
Yeah, so we don't just go, oh, I go through this as a woman. We just become like feminists.
Yes. Because we don't want to be one-sided, because marriage is a both.
Yes.
That's right.
It has to be both sides. But if we look at what only women go through, as Fatu said, is definitely we're looking for only one picture.
Yes.
So it's better we look both pictures. So even if you men, you're watching this, we making this something together about the two couples to know what is the difficulties that you guys go through.
Or not even knowing what is the difficulties, but also understanding when you're going through the situation or circumstances that it's about your marriage and how far do you want or treasure that marriage.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is very important, even though, someone like myself who's divorced, and that is within my decision, but end of the day I fought for my marriage because I believe in marriage and I trust in marriage. So this is something that I want to touch base on. Let's talk about self-esteem.
Wow, good. That's a good one.
Okay, self-esteem in marriage. This is a big one, guys. I'm talking about not just men here. I'm talking about all of you. Okay, anyone who's listening to this. Self-esteem, it plays a biggest part. Why? Because when you first meet each other, okay, for example, you start without children. Okay, it's different.
Exactly.
It's totally different. For example, even me, when I got married, I was size 6 in dress. Yeah. Now, after having my first child or my second child, I became so big and different. My body rapidly changed. Now, I was so young at that time that I became more I was like, I used to not like the way I am.
Sorry,
Go for it.
just got that. Okay, so when you come to the point, you said that you rapidly put on weight.
Yes.
Where do you think that came from?
Having children.
Yes,
You
definitely.
having children
definitely.
come from? And because obviously not many women would have children and just get big, so it varies, right? Some
Yeah,
women
every
will
woman is
give,
different,
that's
yeah,
right, some
yeah.
women will have children, they will go slimmer.
Yes.
Some will have children, they will gain on weight. But where would you think that came from? Even though it's having children, that's where you think that it's come from, but where does it link to the way that you are feeling with your weight?
Because for me, having my children, I had a child and then straight away I had another child. So this is why there was no healing part.
Yeah.
Now this is why my weight gone into it even more, but then because of that scarcity of having a child right after another child, that I wanted to not to have any more children, I went for contraception. And with that contraception, that gives me more. I put on even more weight because
same thing,
of that.
isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So that into that, because what was happening at that time, we're looking how the other part of the other person look on us.
Yes.
Like I came to the marriage, I was, perfect image, but now, and what you're developing at that time, low self-esteem, and that makes even the marriage, the salt side, as Fatu said, the sweet side, but the salt side, because
But
you're
that
trying
one-
to cover every single time.
No,
you won't feel even
because
trusted.
of that. Okay, so within myself, I knew what was happening. I didn't like it. That's one thing. But then when you hear your husband telling you now you're fat, I don't like women fat like
That's
this.
right.
But then you kind of like, but it's not my fault. I'm not like overeating. I'm not doing it on purpose. It's out of my control.
And I think this is what I was coming from.
Okay.
My question was, is it that you felt like it was part of it, the genes?
It
whatever
is part of the
you call
genes,
it,
yeah.
Right? So, because some women
Yes.
might not look at it that way.
Yes.
Because of your hearing your other partner calling you names, telling
Yes.
you things. And at that moment,
Or giving
you're
you
just
insecurity
yes.
look.
So at that
Yes,
moment,
looking
you're
at you
like
different.
you've
Yes.
got that
Yeah.
block mode where you don't know where to think. Where does
Yes.
where was it coming from?
And where's the reality?
Yeah.
Because you have to remember, first of all, us women, we have hormones.
That's right.
Okay,
Very high
when
hormones.
you have after you have a baby, when you have a baby, and after you have a baby, it triples those
That's
hormones.
right. That's right.
Okay, and within that, we become
You're
even
so
more
sensitive.
softer,
Very sensitive.
Sensitive, that's
very
right.
sensitive.
That's right.
And within that, we want to feel loved.
And secure.
That's all we want at that time. But then when you hear somebody telling you these things, we started to create a story.
Yeah.
That's what it comes. How can you find a love from someone else while you look at yourself as a woman in general? I'm talking about, which is I can include myself. And there was a time I was putting on weight more, and I wasn't thinking of myself. Honestly, I was thinking how the other person sees me, and I was working so hard to make slimming, like having that, and I was young at that time. But then I came to a place that it was about me. So the insecurity started from me. It's nothing to do with the other person. And I was like feeling, and the other person wasn't even thinking of me.
Though? But when do you know that it wasn't from the other person? Because surely it's like a transition that you have to go through to realize that it wasn't from that person.
Yes.
So right now, at that moment it was happening to you. Where do you think that problem was coming from in the first place before you realized that it was that person was you?
Because of, I used to look at the mirror all the time and then compare myself the previous Sophia, and then put into my mind like, oh my god, this is the big difference, or the other person can see it. And then I developed by sharing with the other person every day how much I'm losing. Like, I'm really losing weight. Can you see me? Oh my god, I've been doing trampoline, I'm doing that. And the other person like, what are you talking about? I don't see anything. It happens.
So how did that make you feel?
And that made me completely break through, because I took it as a positive, because I knew by hearing the other person or looking at the other person, because I didn't know what he was thinking.
Okay.
I didn't know what's his inside, but the only look like, you know what? Because I want him to feel, definitely.
But then,
But he
at
wasn't
that point,
into it
you
because
felt that you felt low.
I felt, and that is what I created. It's not from him. It was for me.
Yes.
I created that point, and then it became stuck on my mind, like thinking,
You created a
oh
story
my
about him.
God, you know, he didn't.
But then that's
care
the
about
thing.
you.
Listen, that's the thing, guys. We